Hey everyone, welcome back to another Ross review. Today on the show, we're checking out this 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce. And this has got to be one of the best looking sports sedans on sale today here in Australia. That's right everyone, today we're standing next to the 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce. This thing just looks so good, every curve, every line, it just works so well, and whichever way you look at it. You know, leave it to the Italians to bring a car over to us that just from first glance has so much character, so much soul in it, and I just love the way this thing looks, especially up the front. You know, you've got that triangular front grille. That's so typical for all Alfa Romeos to have, and it just looks so good. You've even got these other grills down here, and these are all functioning. It's just really aggressive front end on this car. I love the lights here. These are actually bi-xenon lights as well, and they just nailed it. There's absolutely no complaints at the front of this car. Now, just before we carry on with the review, I just want to mention that the Giulia actually has 4 different trim variants you can get this spec'd out to. So you can get the base Giulia, you can get a Giulia Super, or you can get the Giulia Veloce like we have here today. Then you can jump up to the Giulia Quadrifoglio. And the Giulia Quadrifoglio is currently one of the craziest super sedans on sale today. The price jumps significantly higher when you get a quadrifoglio, but I think for the average consumer, the Veloce is the good choice. This thing looks very similar to the quadrifoglio, you know, minus some carbon fiber bits in that. From a quick glance, they do look very similar. They actually sport the exact same wheel design here, so these wheels look very nice. They're a 19-inch alloy wheel, just bang on. You've got some Alfa Romeo brake calipers just behind that, which sit really nicely. Now, just coming onto the bonnet here, the Veloce, this receives an inline 4-cylinder turbo, makes around 280 horsepower and about 307 pound-foot of torque. This thing will do 0 to 100 in about 5.7 seconds. And that's pretty respectable, I think, for a car like this. It's got a limited slip diff, it's rear-wheel drive, and it's got an 8-speed auto, which is actually pretty damn good. Now, in some markets, you can actually option these cars as an all-wheel drive, though I believe in Australia we only receive these as rear-wheel drive. Now, just hit the back of the Veloce. I absolutely love it. Like I've been saying this whole review, there is no bad angle to this car, and the back is no exception. Gorgeous lines. You know, you've even got this sort of curving up boot lid here, which just looks really nice. Love the taillight design as well. I really do like this. Now, I actually get a little bit of a Mazda 3 vibe with this rear end, but this just looks 10 times better. Even you come down, gorgeous diffuser, dual exhaust here, of course, so take a listen. All right, so inside the Giulia Veloce, and this is a gorgeous interior. It really is. Straight away, you're just greeted with these absolutely gorgeous seats, you know, Italian leather, and these things just feel so good. They got ample bolstering, you know, lots of control. and they're just very, very comfortable. Now, you actually do have the Alfa Romeo crest in the headliner as well, which is a nice attention to detail. Now, just coming down the middle, we've got an infotainment system here. It is a little bit on the small side, though it looks nice. One negative, though, is that you can only use it by scrolling with this wheel down here. It would have been nice if this was a touchscreen also, but unfortunately it's not. Though this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that is a good saving grace. Now, just below the infotainment system, we've got our climate control stuff. This has dual zone climate control, obviously. Very easy to use. I like the simplicity. We do have heated seats here, which is nice. We also have a heated steering wheel, which is just a nice touch again. Though I would like to see cooling seats. I don't see a button here for cooled seats, which in the hot Australian summer, you really want those. And then we carry down, we've got cup holders, which are a decent size, so that is a plus. Then we come into our gear selector here, which is just fairly straightforward, nice to use. Volume controls, this is kind of a nice thing. So instead of having to use this scroll wheel to do it, you've got a separate one next to it. So change the volume, turn it on or off, change the track. That is nice attention to detail. Now, just to the right of that, we've got our DNA scroll wheel. So this actually lets us change the drive modes in this car. So D obviously stands for dynamic. We've got N for natural, and then we've got A for advanced efficiency. So basically we've got eco, comfort, and sport. I'm going to mention as well, I do like sort of the finish they've got around sort of some of the door trims and in the center console here. It's kind of this metallic-y brushed material. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it does have a nice feel and a nice look. I do like that. Up on the dash, though, I gotta say, I love how they've got all this leather up here as well. It's all stitched. Just feels really nice and soft as well. You come down to the wheel, and the wheel feels very, very nice. It's a little bit thin, but it actually does feel really good in your hands. You've also got this stitching in the sides of it here, and it just feels very high quality, actually. Another nice thing that they've done is the start-stop button is actually mounted on the wheel. So like a Formula 1 car or something, you get in and just push the button on the wheel and you go. So that is a really nice thing there. Really, really love the flappy paddles. Your paddle shifters here are just gargantuan, and they just feel so good. They're really solid, and they're just massive. Like, this is like as wide as my hand, this paddle. And they are mounted to the column as well. So that is how you do proper paddle shifters. So I'm really glad that they've done that. That just makes it so much more sporty and really satisfying to press. Now, just one other thing I'm going to pick on about this car with the infotainment system here. You put it into reverse, and you do have sensors all around this car. So, you know, that helps you in a parking situation. You do have a backup camera as well, though the backup camera on this car is really low quality. You know, and when you're trying to compete with BMWs and Mercedes and cars of that nature, the tech in this car does really let it down. The image quality is horrible, actually, and for a car of this price, it probably should be a nicer camera back there. Now, in the back seats, there actually is a surprisingly good amount of room back there for your legs, at least. This was in a normal seating position, and I had a decent amount of leg room, though my head was very, very close to the roof. I'm just under 6 foot tall, so somebody who's a little bit taller might struggle in a long trip. But it's finished in beautiful leather again back there. You've got 2 climate control vents, 2 USB chargers, and the rear seats are actually heated as well. So all in all, it's quite a nice back seat. Now, just driving in normal, so natural as Alfa likes to call it, you know, this does really sort of feel like any other high-end sort of luxury sports sedan. You know, the ride is you can feel the bumps, but it's pleasant. It is pleasant to drive. The biggest thing that I've noticed straight away sitting in this car is that the steering is just amazing. It really is super noticeable over any of the other cars I've reviewed anyways. You know, the littlest input, and this car makes a huge change, which is really nice to see. I really do like the font as well in the gauge cluster here when it tells you how fast you're going. They've used kind of a really cool, there's a very video gamey font, and yeah, it kind of reminds me as if I'm playing like Forza or Gran Turismo or something. And I really do like that. That's a cool attention to detail again. Now just in the driving position, this is a very, very comfortable car to drive. The seats are just gorgeous, very premium Italian leather. There's lots of adjustment as well, and everything is just close to you. You know, the wheel is in a perfect spot, the pedals are in a perfect spot, you can see all around this car. You have pretty good visibility everywhere, which is nice. You do get a nice little rev on your down change there. So it's sort of like an auto rev match, I think, and that is satisfying. Yeah, I like that little blip you get right when you down change. Very, very good. This is how you do proper paddles. When I pull up to the lights, when I drive by past people, I've only been driving this for a few hours today, and everyone sort of seems to turn their neck and have a look because it just does look so, so good. It really does look like the quadrifoglio, and the quadrifoglio is one of the most beautiful sedans I think ever. Honestly, I think that's probably one of the most gorgeous sports sedans on the planet, and this looks 95% there. You know, this is 95% visually a quadrifoglio. Now, if you had the exhaust on this, you know, some people would probably mistake this for a quadrifoglio, definitely. All right, so let's get into the 5 questions here. So, sound. Well, it sounds okay on hard acceleration. You do get a couple of burbles there when you're really stepping on it, but it's definitely could be better. It really could be better. It would have been nice if Alfa offered this with, you know, a bimodal exhaust that you could option in. Unfortunately, this is what we got, and it's okay. I think for the average person, they're not going to want something that sounds ridiculously loud anyways, but it would be nice to chuck this into sport mode and really open her up. So that's something that hopefully Alfa will address in the future. Now, practicality. I think practicality in this car is pretty good. Now, let's remember this is an Alfa, so Alfa really is not known for long-term reliability. But when you purchase a car like this, you'll get a 3-year warranty or 150,000 kilometers. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty standard offer for some of the more higher-end cars. And interior quality, just from me driving it right now, is very nice. You know, minus some of the cheap plastic around here, I really do like this car. Servicing is annually or every 15,000 kilometers, so standard stuff again. And, you know, for the most part, it's fairly practical. You got a decent-sized boot. Can sit 5 adults in here fairly comfortably, you know, as long as they're on the shorter side. So I think this is an all-in-all pretty practical car. Now, fuel consumption, I think this is rated at around 6.1 liters per 100 kilometers combined. So all in all, not too bad. Now, handling, just taking this corner here like this, and this thing is just rock solid, so steady. It really is nice. This has some of the best steering I think I've had on the channel. The steering is just absolutely fantastic. It's some of the best in the business, I would have to say. And just the smallest little, it just feels so nippy and alive, this car. You know, just the littlest, whoa, see, like the littlest input into the wheel, and you just get so much response. So for a car, you know, that you want to have that feels sporty in that, this is just perfect. Now, price. Well, these things start, like I mentioned, $72,000, and a bit of change is going to get you into Veloce here in Australia. And now, you know, that is a lot of money to ask, but this is a gorgeous car. It really is, and it does feel very sporty and lively. You know, if we're looking at some of the competitors, you know, you've got the Mercedes C300. That comes in at about 71 grand, I think, that I believe. Then you've got the BMW 330i. That's going to cost you about just under 71 grand. Then, of course, you've got the Jaguar XER Dynamic, and that's going to run you about the same as this, just under 72,000. So this is kind of on the top end of those cars. And obviously this is before options for all those cars, but when someone purchases a car like this, it's out of love. And when you see this car, you instantly know whether, you know, you're gonna buy one or not. I would have definitely liked to have seen sort of a CLA 45 kind of competitor. I wish they were able to have updated this 4-cylinder to match sort of that output of power. But for the average person that's gonna buy one of these, you know, they're gonna just fall in love with it. They wanna drive it nicely, go on some nice B roads, really feel that connective steering, and just see that it is, you know, a visual piece of art. All right, now 0 to 100 impressions. So I've got this in dynamic mode. We're in first gear, and just gonna put my foot on the brake slightly, preload it a little bit, and then go for it. So 3, 2, 1. $100. So it takes a bit to get there, and you could really notice once it hit into the turbo as well. So yeah, once it hits, it's sort of around that 2,500, 3,000 RPM mark where the turbo really kicks in. Throttle response could be nicer in a car like this. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it does feel like it's a little bit slow to respond. When you're already moving though, it does have a nice respond. But from a standstill like that, you kind of beg for just a little bit more. Oh, far out. Just need a little bit more sound. Come on, this is an Italian car. We need more drama. Like the visuals, the feeling inside is just A+. But we just need a soundtrack, and this car would be so amazing. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna finish the video off here today. Huge thanks to the Alfa Romeo team at Barbagallo's here in Perth. Thank you for letting me take this Giulia Veloce out today. This is a beautiful car. It really is a work of art. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review. If so, please remember to hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we'll see you on that next video.